Good morning, beloveds. Okay. I'm trying to think of a word. I'm using the phrase depth and I want calm and I want still, but I can't quite think of the word. So if in the middle of this I go, oh, that's the word I'm thinking for. I got a program running in the back of my head. All right. It is July 30th. We are almost done with July. Shocking, I know, right? All right. It is July 30th. Our title is God's Will Must Be Godlike. We've got Nona L. Brooks as our author. And this is from Short Lessons in Divine Science from 1940. We cannot conceive of God willing for us sickness or sorrow, weakness or sin. We have come to know that these are inharmonies are the result of people's ignorance. As they are enlightened by truth, they will disappear. God wills for us only life, health, goodness, love, and power. God wills that we should be wise in our day's decision. God wills that we should be loving, kind, and also uncritical, fearless, trustful, joyful. God wills siblinghood throughout the land, and also that we should say with Jesus and Paul, I of myself can do nothing. The Spirit in me does the work. If we understand God's will in this way and try steadfastly to fulfill it, we find ourselves gradually freed from the bondage to race hypnotism. Self-centered thought, selfishness goes. We forgive perfectly, we serve efficiently. From our earnest endeavors come clear vision. We are led definitely not only to understand the great principles of right living, but also to know God's immediate intent for us. We know whether God wishes us to go forth or to be still, to give or to withhold, to cherish or to lose. Such is the life of power. This is the greatest human achievement. This knowing the God will and fulfilling our divine purpose. Well, she didn't pull any punches, does she? That first line, right? We cannot conceive of God willing for us sickness or sorrow, weakness or sin. Okay? We have come to know that these inharmonies are the result of our ignorance. When we get to know, that's why when we talk about spiritual mind treatment, when we talk about coming into alignment with, we come into alignment with God. We come into alignment with good. We come into alignment with that which is true. And we let go of all of the illusions. She also says, what was it? She said we are freed from the bondage to race hypnotism. There are so many ideas that running around that are inharmonious with what we believe God is. If we believe God is love, then a lot of the stuff that is happening in the material form are inharmonious with that. Okay? So they're out of alignment with God. And so we have to let them go. We gradually, what is it? She says, we find ourselves gradually freed from the bondage of race hypnotism. So basically, as we learn who God is, what God is, where God is, then we start to look around and go, okay, well, that's not in alignment with God. Pain and sickness and all of that, that's not in alignment with God. We don't have to have that. Poverty is not in alignment with God. When we recognize that there's enough for everybody. So, and she says, we forgive perfectly, we serve efficiently. From our earnest endeavor comes clear vision. We are led definitely not only to understand the great principles of right living, but also to know God's immediate intent for us. And it's super important to understand the great principles of right living. What does right living mean? It means living in harmony. It means living in alignment. It means that we don't worry about having enough, because abundance is provided. And I was just before I clicked onto this, I happened to see Reverend Amani from Albuquerque. She was talking about true abundance. She said, well, maybe it's true abundance is awakening to who you are. You know, it's not chasing the newest shiny consumerism. You know, that's what we've been taught that abundance is, that prosperity is. And that's not what, you know, it's included, but it's not all that it is. And so as we come into the right thinking, that Ernest likes to talk about right thinking, as we come into the right thinking, as we come into alignment with what God is, and recognizing the sheer abundance of life, and that it includes everything, then we gradually let go of what we've been told abundance is. It's like you can watch all the commercials in the world, and they have very definite ideas of what abundance is, of what prosperity is. And then you stop and you look around in your world and you go, it's so much more than that. And gradually we wake up from that, as Nona says, the race hypnotism. And that's the goal. That's the goal. We don't have to be snapped awake. You know, we can gradually wake up, look around in the world and go, you know, she says to forgive and to serve, to forgive and to serve. We forgive perfectly, or is that what she said? Yeah, we forgive perfectly and serve efficiently. To forgive perfectly and serve. Forgive and perfectly, remember, perfectly means wholly. It means wholly. Everything's included. And to serve efficiently. And when we serve it efficiently, nothing is wasted. All right. We know whether God wishes us to go forth or be still. And so sometimes we get to rest, to give or to withhold, to cherish or to lose. Such is the life of power. All right. So the greatest human achievement, knowing God's will and fulfilling our divine purpose. Our divine purpose is to live, to experience, to be. That's what it is. So, Nona's asking us to give up our ignorances and be enlightened. And to recognize what God is. God wills for us only life, health, goodness, love, and power. God wills that we be wise in our day's decisions, that we be loving, kind, uncritical, fearless, trustful, joyful. What a world we could live in. What a world we could live in. All right. So, the mission today, should we choose to accept it? And I just saw this line, and so I'm going to use this one. It is the earnest endeavor of clear vision. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is earnest endeavors into clear vision of the harmonies. Of the harmonies. Let's let go of the inharmonies. Let's let go of the race hypnotism. Let's go and be children of God. And live in that joyful, in that love, in that wonder, in that possibility, and in that harmony. All right. So we are making an earnest endeavor of clear vision of God's will. And I would also remind you, the only being, when you seek to know God's will, you are seeking to know God's will for you. Don't seek to know God's will for anybody else. That's between them, and that's in their relationship with God. Because a lot of the really big messiness that happens in the world is when a child of God stands up and says, I know God's will for everyone. Yeah, you know what? Seek your own. Seek your own. And let each seek their own. Because that right there would probably ease a lot of the nonsense. It's like, you seek God's will for you, I'll seek God's will for me, and then we'll get along. I don't know. Just a thought. Okay, so that is the mission today. Earnest endeavors into God's will with clear vision. The second mission is the same one I give you every day, which is the spiritual principle of doing something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Spiritual principle. Spiritual practice. It is the spiritual principle of self-care. And what do I mean by that? I mean, take a deep breath before you speak. I mean, take a walk. I mean, take a nap. I mean, take a break. I mean, say yes to something that pushes you a little out of your comfort zone. I mean, say no to something that is draining for you. I'm also like to say dessert first. I want you to practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself, because I want you to create a well-worn path to the source of your own being. I mean, if we're seeking God's will, where are we going to find it? In the source of our own being, which is, the center of us. The source of our own being, which is God. When you create a well-worn path to the source of your own being, you create a well-worn path to the infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion. Therefore, one, when you need a little extra, you know where to go. When you meet people who need a little extra, you know where to go. You have access to an infinite source. I want you to practice on yourself, because I want you to create that habit, so that no matter what happens, you can respond to yourself and to others with love, kindness, and compassion. But also because you deserve your own love, you deserve your own kindness, you deserve your own compassion. Please practice on yourself. I also say to eat dessert first, and what I mean by that is don't save the good stuff. Burn the nice candles, write the good notebooks, wear the nice clothes, use the fancy dishware and silverware and glassware. Your life is a special occasion. Please treat it as such. When I say eat dessert first, I literally do mean it. Occasionally we should eat dessert first. I also want to remind you that joy is a quality of God. Nona said it, So no matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, make room for joy. Please make room for joy. It will, you deserve joy. You deserve joy, so make room for it. All right. So, practice on yourself. All right? You are your own best test subject. The rest of the suggestions, again, I'm a big believer in self-care. You know this if you've watched any of these. Do something to engage your mind and your body, unless today is your day of rest. Please drink plenty of water. You just saw me take a nice big drink. Hydration is super important. It's been very hot where I live, and hydration is, your brain works better when it is well hydrated. Your body works better when it's well hydrated. Your skin looks better when you're well hydrated. So hydrate, please. I would also encourage you to get early in your day bright light. I'm talking between 7 and 9 in the morning. So if you get up before the sun, artificial light will work. I'm talking about a natural hormone balance where it helps to reset a natural cycle. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. Okay, that early in your day on your face stimulates. It's called a circadian rhythm. It's science. You can look it up. And as always, I'm going to end my self-care with my quote from Ernest Holmes. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you do live in heaven right here, right now. It is all around us. It is all God. Today, Nona was talking about God's will. She was talking about clear vision. She was talking about the qualities of God. God's will is always going to be godlike. It is about love. It is about kindness. It is about joy. It is about health. And when we recognize that heaven is a state of mind, because all of those qualities of God are true, heaven is a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. It is something that we create for ourselves by recognizing the truth of God around us. Okay? Once we learn that, we move through the world differently. We interact differently. And it's interesting when we interact with people and we interact with them in that heavenly mindset, it helps to change them. It helps to change them. When you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately to someone, then you might take a little bit of that negative energy out so that the next person they encounter doesn't get as much. You may not see it, the change, but it will be there. So that's what we're looking at. That's what Ernest is talking about. Heaven is a mindset. Okay? It's a state of consciousness, and you can create it for yourself. And once you create it for yourself, you create more peace on earth. And when enough of us do that, the balance will tip. Okay? All right. And you can also take him as advice. Look for the good and praise it. Trust me, gratitude will get you everywhere. In all of this, what Nona was talking about today, gratitude will absolutely get you everywhere. So, please look into that. All right. The rest of this, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I encourage you to check them out. I encourage you also, if you want to know what's going on with the center, to email info@creativelife.org. That gets you on the Constant Contact. And the Constant Contact would tell you that Reverend Arthur is going to take the stage today and raise the roof. So that will be fantastic. If you're watching this at another time on either on YouTube or just, some other day on Facebook, you can always go to the YouTube channel. And that will, the Creative Life YouTube channel, go to, Reverend Arthur has his own playlist. He is fantastic. You will love it. So, he is a dynamic speaker. He's very different from Jesse. It's interesting that all of the speakers we all have our own different styles. So, and I fall somewhere between Reverend Arthur and Jesse, where it's like, I'm a little more energetic than Jesse, because occasionally that Southern Baptist preacher in me comes out. I'm just like, where did that come from? Because I grew up in Georgia. That's where. But he's dynamic, and he will take the stage and take us on a wild ride and then bring us right back home. It'll be good. So please check that out. And like I said, you can always check it out later on YouTube. And I guess I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, a clear vision day, an earnest endeavoring day, a consistent day, a consciousness day, a kindness day, a loving day, a compassionate day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You're a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. You are spirit in motion, God in action. You are, as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, a godlike. Know the truth of your being. Explore the truth of your being. That is what Nona is encouraging us to do, is to explore the truth of our being, to see that God vision, to see ourselves as God sees us. Not how society and religion and culture and all of that have been looking at us and told us how to see ourselves, but see ourselves as God sees us, and to recognize the harmonies. All right? It's fantastic. So, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. But before that, because it is Sunday, at least in 2023, we will have an amazing service for you at 11 a.m. right here on Facebook Live. If you're in person, please come. And if you're not, join us on Facebook Live. And like I said, it'll be up on YouTube later. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you